you've had a few.
There we go.
Yeah, you've had a few months here now in Columbia and got to go through spring practice, as you said. So let's look back at spring ball. Just how was your experience? What spring ball and just overall experience here in Columbia? How has it been so far? What have been your thoughts on Columbia and adjusting to the Gamecocks program?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is going to be a transition for me. I was in the Sun Belt at first, and I'm coming to the SEC, the best of the best. So the transition has been good. I love the competition out there. It is a lot of competition, and I love to compete. So I really like what I've seen out of spring ball so far. So I just hope to keep it up, and we bring that juice and drive that we have to the season.
So you mentioned coming from Coastal in the Sun Belt to South Carolina, and yet you still have to play in the SEC upcoming this fall. But what's that transition like going from a Group of 5 program to an SEC program, just in what you've noticed so far before taking the field this fall?
Yeah, I would say at the end of the day, football is football, no matter what level you're at. But as everyone knows, SEC is very competitive. So I would say just I can't really, I'm not going to talk bad on anybody. I won't downplay anybody, but I mean, I can say that it is a better competition up in the SEC, and that's just what I love to do. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just keep that up.
Let's talk about a storyline that, I think's gotten a lot of attention this offseason, or a lot of conversation, and that is obviously Coach Beamer and his staff brought in yourself and 2 other transfer receivers and a couple freshmen, and then obviously a couple other transfers are going to join this summer and be here for preseason camp. But something that I know the fan base has talked a lot about that I wanted to give you a chance to address is, the size, conversation, right? Where you look at, okay, Nick Carver, who ran track during the spring, is, a bigger guy at 6'5". Delvon Campbell, who's going to transfer in from Nevada, is a bigger guy. But there's been a lot of talk about the size of the receiver core, right? But when you look at it, yourself, Amari, Gage Larvinanen, like, you guys were super productive at your past schools. So talk a little bit about, is there even a lot of conversation about that among receivers, about size, or is it just more about production?
I mean, we do talk about that. We'll come as a group and we'll say, that we all know that we're not the biggest group on the team, so that just makes us work even harder. I feel like the reason that we were productive at our last school was we were used, to our strengths. Mm-hmm. So everything that we did, we were doing that we knew how to do extremely well. So I feel like having three of those guys on one team is very scary. On top of that, we did get bigger guys, but I feel like, I'm more of a speed guy. I'm not a bigger guy. So I feel like, all 3 of us are fast. Every single receiver on that team has speed. So when everybody has speed like that, then you have to pick your poison. So.
When you look at the college game or the NFL game, I feel like there are a lot of receivers that are just really good at running routes and getting separation that aren't 6'3", 6'4", right? Are there any guys that you model your game after?
On the team, or just
just like NFL guys or guys that you grew up watching that you've kind of taken things from, really enjoyed watching?
I mean, I'm gonna say first Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say him first, and then I also like Saint Brown off the Lions. Yeah, I love his game. I study him. I am studying him now. Actually, Coach Furry actually brought him to my attention. Really, he brought him back up in my mind. So that's somebody I'm going to study over the offseason, too.
You mentioned Coach Ferry. A lot of change has happened at the wide receiver coaching spot just since you've been here since December. What's that been like from your perspective, and what's that relationship been like with Coach Ferry now that he's been established as your wide receiver coach?
Yeah, man. I love Coach Ferry. Coach Ferry, he's been at the next level, so he knows what it takes to get there. he knows that football is not just a physical game; it's also mental. So the mental aspect, he has given us a lot of great knowledge that we can take into the season, and knowledge, learning coverages, learning leverage, how they're going to play us, how they can disguise the coverages and all that. So he's also given us the physical aspect of the game too, teaching us the route, timing, stuff like that. Because the new guys came from a different offense. I've been in 3 different offenses in college, so having a guy like that that's been at the next level that can slow it down for me and break it down so I can understand it, I really appreciate that.
What's it like from your perspective, committing to a place and coming in to think you're going to be working with one coach and then that changing multiple times to where you are now? Like what was that for not only you, but the other guys in the room as that process was playing out?
Yeah, I was just telling everybody just stick to the plan. It'll all work out. Ever since I've been in college, every year I've had a different receiver coach. So switching this receiver coach like this, it really didn't affect me. I just want to play ball, and I trust the head coaches. I trust everybody on staff that they're going to make the right decision for everybody in the receiving room and everybody on the team.
You mentioned Coach Furry and what he's been able to teach you. Did you know how good he was in the NFL? Did you know how good of a player he was?
I didn't.
He's told you his stats though.
Yeah.
I mean he did. Have you gone back and watched any highlight tapes?
No, I haven't.
You should check.
Need to though.
There's some stuff on YouTube. Check it out.
I'm trying to think. How old would you have been when he had that great season?
I don't know.
Is that 06?
What year was? Yeah, let me look it up here in real time. 06 was. Oh man, he caught 98 passes in the NFL.
Most of the entire league.
Yeah. So Jared, you're probably.
I did not know that.
2006. How old were you? Let's see.
I was born in 2003. So.
Okay. 3 years. Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
We're aging, Tyler.
Yeah.
Especially me. Tyler not. Tyler's still, Tyler's a young guy.
I'm about to hit my 10-year high school reunion, so
well, mine's.
I'm feeling a little bit.
I got a 20 coming up in August, so I've doubled you. So yeah, but I mean, Coach Furry, yeah, he had 98 catches, went over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, playing for Detroit. That's pretty good. Didn't that lead the league, Tyler?
Yeah, that did lead the league.
He led the league.
I think he brought that up like 3 times in his introductory press conference.
But Jared, seriously, like when you have a coach, you mentioned you've had a bunch of different coaches, and we were talking about one of your former coaches, Perry Parks at Coastal, and I know you're a big fan of his too. But like when you have a coach who is like, hey, I'm teaching you these things, these techniques, the mental side of the game, like you said. And you know that, okay, this dude that's telling me this literally played in the NFL, led the league in receptions one year. Like, does that make it a little bit more real and a little bit more like, I need to take this in?
It does because, at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants to get to. Mm-hmm. So, are you not going to listen?
Right.
So,
right.
And that's the way I look at it.
Having already played 3 years of college football, how much development, how much more improvement can you make in a 3rd or a 4th year now that you're here at South Carolina? Or, is it just more kind of refining and fine-tuning what you already have?
Yeah, I would say it's tuning to what I already have too. And then on top of that, just not making the same mistakes that I've made previous. I feel like if I cut those out, then that's going to develop me more as a player.
What are those, not even, I wouldn't even say mistakes, but like what are the specific areas where you're like, hey, here's something that I felt was maybe missing from my game in the past, or something that I could improve on from the past, and something you want to get better at coming into this season?
Yeah, yes. Something in particular that I want to get better at is really route running. Mm-hmm. I want to. I came here to be a complete receiver, mm-hmm. And have production on this team consistently. So I feel like the way that I can make the better step in that direction is to clean up my route running. That's really one thing that I need to work on. Like at Coastal, we were in a triple option offense, so I really wasn't running routes like that. And then when they left, and then we came back, and then when the new staff came in with Coach Beck, I was a slot receiver then, so I really wasn't having to run those real routes, the whole route tree. So one thing that I'm really harp on this summer is the route tree and the mental aspect of the game.
So I was going to go there next as far as the scheme. You've had several different coaches. You've played in different offensive schemes, and we'll get into a little bit more scheme talk later. But just positionally, like you pointed out, you played pretty much exclusively in the slot at Coastal, right? Mm-hmm. And then you look out there during the spring game, and you're playing outside here some. Mm-hmm. So have you enjoyed that part, getting to play outside?
I actually have.
Yeah.
I feel like if I can play inside and outside, that'll be better for me.
Yeah, add value for for your pro stock.
Versatile.
What's the biggest differences? I mean, obviously like the types of routes, but like what get into the.
Yeah, I would say the big difference for me is having somebody in front of you the whole game.
Right.
I'm really not used to that. So I'm used to free access, but I enjoy it though. I do enjoy that.
So when you got to meet with Dow Loggins for the first time, got to run through spring practice, what are some of the kind of things that you feel like he's going to be able to do with your skill set in this offense this fall?
Yeah, I would say add in some of the stuff that I've already done. The quick touches, sweeps, bubbles. Maybe even add a triple option pitch in there somehow. I mean, I don't know, but just more of doing the stuff that I've already been good at, and then plus adding more on there.
If you had to describe Dowell's scheme based on what you've seen so far and being in it, what is it like to you? I mean, I guess probably call it pro style because he's a guy that came from the NFL, but what really stands out to you and how would you describe it?
I like his concept. Mm-hmm. I've just never seen anything like it before. Mm-hmm. And then the way he can make like he's always keeping you on your toes. Mm-hmm. Like we have a lot of like we want you to bite on this play so we can open the next play up with this play. Like we almost want you to stop us on this one so you can think.
Kind of like setting up and sequencing plays. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that.
We'll continue our conversation with Jared Brown as the Garnet Trust Hour rolls along on your Tuesday here on The Game. Welcome back in. It is the Garnet Trust Hour. Tyler Head and Chris Clark along with you here on this Tuesday, hanging out with Jared Brown, wide receiver for the Gamecocks. And Jared, you obviously transferred over from Coastal this past offseason. I want to talk a little bit about your time at Coastal. You obviously came there under Jamie Chadwell, who left prior to this past season to go to Liberty. He's a guy whose name gets brought up a lot with some of these big coaching vacancies. A lot of this past offseason staying at Liberty for another year, but he's somebody that people see as taking one of these big jobs at a Power 5 school in these next couple of years. What was your time like with him as your head coach, and what, do you think his potential as a coach at the Power 5 level is?
Coach Chadwell, man, I love Coach Chadwell. He gave me a chance coming out of high school, him and his staff, and I'm blessed, and I appreciate that. He knows the game, and what makes him so hard to stop is the offense that he runs and how well he runs it. If he has the pieces for that offense, then he's gonna produce and put up great numbers.
So it wouldn't be a surprise to you if I don't know, it wouldn't be a surprise to me if he just chilled at Liberty for a long time, but I feel like he could also it'd be really interesting if he got like a SEC job and ran that offense.
And then, I want to see how that offense is going to work in the SEC. I want to see how SEC defenses are going to look at that and how they're going to stop it.
Because, when I remember the same thing happening, this was, Jared, you're probably like 5 when this happened, but you remember Urban Meyer at Florida, right? Before he was at Ohio State, but before then, I remember that same conversation. You remember that, Tyler? Oh, that offense from Utah, that's not going to work.
Nope.
It was fine. They also had Percy Harvin, Tim Tebow.
Good talent guys.
They're pretty good.
It wasn't the triple option necessarily.
No,
so
but it was a little
more
different.
Extreme. It was different.
It was different.
And I don't know, college football's so wide open now with different concepts. I feel like, like when Paul Johnson went to Georgia Tech, we're like, oh, that'll never work at Power 5 level, and took him to a couple Orange Bowls, and won ACC championships. So, I think people are a little bit more open-minded with those kind of things now.
For sure.
Definitely.
Do you, Jared, it's got me thinking, because, we all, when we knew that South Carolina was recruiting you, we all went on YouTube and checked out your highlights and all those types of things. But, you carried the ball a good bit at Coastal in Chadwell's offense. What's your favorite type of play to run? Do you like taking a jet sweep, being able to carry the ball? Do you like catching a deep ball? Do you like taking a slant? What's your favorite? What's your bread and butter?
So if I'm not running a post or a corner, then I would like to get that pitch off of the edge.
Okay.
I've kind of learned to like that.
Okay.
I like the way, because I can show off my athletic ability that way.
Yeah.
When the ball in my hands, I feel like I am a playmaker. So when the ball gets in my hands, I will make a play.
You were talking earlier about Coach Chadwell giving you an opportunity out of high school, and you played good competition in Georgia and all that, but and you put up big numbers in high school. We were just talking about some of your games earlier. What was the recruiting process like? What do you remember about it? We'll talk about the transfer recruiting process, but what about the high school process?
So coming out of high school, I was really under recruited. I really didn't have that many offers, but Coastal was the only school that was really staying on me. Like where are you going to go to school? We want you here. So just knowing that, that really led me towards them because of how committed they were to me.
Why do you think you went so under-recruited? It's not like you look at, your high school has produced talent in the past. You obviously were a really good player in high school. What do you think it was? Hard to know.
Yeah.
Hard to know.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
Well, obviously you made it here to the SEC level,
right.
and you had a great career at Coastal as well. So, whoops, all the schools that didn't recruit you.
Right.
Do you think if you were maybe 6'2" or 6'3", your high school recruiting would have gone a little bit differently?
Probably it would have. It would have definitely gone.
That kind of drives me crazy a little bit,
Yeah.
Same thing happens with D linemen sometimes, or hey, if he was an inch taller, it's like, well, is that going to make him a better? If it makes him a better player, cool.
Sure.
But if he's a good player,
and I don't know if you heard about this, but at the combine, they apparently measured Leggett, and he was actually 6'1", not 6'3", and that dinged him in the eyes. A lot of people still went in the first round, but like I don't know, he looked like 6'3" guy to me when we saw him.
He's not 6'1". I don't know
obviously
what
played
happened.
at a high level, so I don't know. I think we make a little too much of height sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you pay attention to what Xavier did last year? Like, have y'all watched any stuff on him, or did you pay attention last year to what he did?
So when I got here, that is when I really started to watch him. You know, at Coastal, because I was at Coastal last year, we didn't really hear anything about South Carolina. So
He's pretty
really
good.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a big dude that can run.
Yeah, great player.
Where would you think? Speed's one of your fortes, and obviously a lot of the guys can run. Where would you say you stack up on the speed? On the team, top 10, top 5.
I'd say I'm probably top 5.
No.
Now, I imagine you haven't got a chance to race Nick or anything like that yet, have you? Is that on your list?
Nah, we ain't gonna race him.
Well, that's what we always talk about. I mean, Nick, I feel like some players on the team could get Nick in like a 40, you know? But if you're running 100,
But yeah,
nah.
you have to open up.
Yeah. Yeah,
You might get-
because he's got to get going. You know, because one of his strides, one of his strides is like
It's like 2 of mine.
two. It'd be like 10 of mine. You know.
So you can obviously speak to this really well. We obviously know he's been doing track stuff for the spring, so wasn't necessarily out there practicing with you guys or in the spring game. But how involved has he been through the spring process when he wasn't busy doing track stuff?
When he hasn't been doing track stuff, he will come out to the practices and interact with us. You know, it's not like he's a stranger out there. You know, we all know, who he is. So, every time he comes to practice and he's not with the track team, we always show him love. And
Let's talk about the state of that wide receiver room. Kind of going off of what we were talking about earlier. Yourself, you transferred here. Amari Huggins-Bruce transferred here. Gage Larvadan. And you were talking about those guys a little bit earlier and how y'all can all run. But tell us a little bit about each of those players. What have you seen from Gage so far?
I watched Gage's tape, and Gage, he used to play inside and outside.
Yeah.
So that transition to him, I think he knows the ins and outs of those. Gage, he's a great player. Can run routes, can catch the ball. His catch rate is something I haven't seen before. He makes a lot of catches, contested catches, and stuff like that. He'll definitely be a key part to this team. Amari too. Amari might even be faster than me. I'm not gonna lie. Amari can roll. Great player too. Both of those guys actually have great catch radiuses too. I will say that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I was from what I've heard coming to South Carolina about those two. I have not been disappointed in those two yet.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, look,
Or any receiver that we have
For
on
sure.
the team, I haven't been disappointed by.
Yeah.
you guys have a very full room. You're not lacking for bodies in there right now, that's for sure.
All right.
We'll continue our conversation with Jared Brown as the Garnet Trust rolls along on your Tuesday here on The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Garnet Trust Hour here on the game. Chris Clark, Tyler Head, taking a break. Taking a break from the radio for a minute. I'm rolling solo in here. Actually, not rolling solo, though, because I got Jared Brown here with me from Gamecock Football, transfer wide receiver who's been here in Columbia since the spring. Enjoying our conversation so far. And we got some more ground to cover here with Jared before we get out of here. Jared, we were talking last segment about your high school recruiting process, and obviously because of what you did at Coastal and the fact that you're now here at South Carolina and you were a coveted transfer out of the portal, went under-recruited, but you didn't go under-recruited out of the portal. Once you hopped in, you had a bunch of schools pursuing you, South Carolina, Auburn, Louisville, from what I remember. Tell us about that process. What went into, hey, I think I'm going to go try something different, go in the portal. Why did you make that decision, and what were the first few days like?
I made that decision because, not like I said before, I'm not going to downplay anybody.
Sure.
But, I want to play. I want to go to the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like it was the time for me now. Jumping in the portal the first couple of days, I never really been recruited. So actually, even if I would have been highly recruited and all that, I wouldn't have been able to go on the visits and all that because that was when COVID was happening.
Yeah.
So, getting in the portal this time, I was actually excited to see, what other schools and what other people thought about about what I did on the field. So, I wanted to go on all the official visits. I wanted to do all that. So, it was a great experience for me to get in the portal and actually get recruited like that.
Yeah, and I remember I got the schools right? It was Auburn, Louisville, South Carolina. Now, did you end up taking any other visits besides the one here?
I didn't.
Yeah, see, that was interesting. So I remember it looked like all three of those would get visits, but I guess you just got here and fell in love with the place? Like, what happened?
Yeah, it just drew me towards this place. It's a very family-oriented place, and that's somewhere that I want to be.
What was that the main, like, I know, obviously if you would have gone to Louisville, your Power 5, whatever, Power 4, whatever they're calling it now, Auburn's an SEC program too, but was it just opportunity, to come in? Yeah.
There was opportunity for a need here, and that's what and this is what I chose.
Did you enjoy the recruiting process out of the portal?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Yeah, some guy. I feel like it's more, and I know you talked to a bunch of other guys that have been in the portal too. It seems like that process for most guys is a lot more like, I don't know, like you see guys say business decision. Like it's a lot more of that because you don't have as much time normally. You don't have 2-3 years to get recruited. You're kind of trying to, hey, let me find my spot. Is that the way you saw it? Like, we don't need to draw this out and go take 20 visits.
Right.
We don't need to take forever to do this thing.
Yeah. Pick you a place, let's play.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. All right, let's go back to on the field. So last night at one of the Gamecock Club events, Coach Beamer said, hey, right now, the competition's going to continue, but right now, Lenoris is our starting quarterback, coming out of spring ball. And he said, hey, I told Lenoris and Robbie, competition's going to continue, but this is where it's at now. So let's talk about the quarterbacks that throw to you, every day in practice. What have you thought about Lenoris? What stands out about him?
What stands out about me is that, Lenoris is a younger guy, but, his play is, like he's had about 3 years of experience. He knows the playbook. He knows where everyone's supposed to be. A great guy on and off the field, so I'm not mad at it at all. And Robbie's a great player too, and that's somebody that you have to look out for when he is running the ball too, because he's definitely a playmaker with the ball in his hands. But both of those guys are great players. They know where everyone's supposed to be. They're in the playbook. I'll step in the facility for something not even football related, and I'll see them coming out the film room, watching film, trying to perfect their craft. And every time I'm out there in practice, I tell them what I see, and they tell me what they see, and we'll just go off of that.
another guy I wanted to ask you about on the offensive side of the ball, you spent some time with, Luke Doty. I've always been impressed by the fact that, he's in the quarterback room, but he's also playing receiver, like he's bouncing back and forth and doesn't really seem to miss a beat. And, played some receiver in high school and everything, but he played some last year at receiver. He's played special teams. He's bouncing back and forth. What does that say about Luke, you think, and what have you thought of him, getting to know him?
Luke's just very versatile. You know, like that is somebody who knows the whole playbook like the back of his hand. And for him be able to get moved in those positions like that. Mm-hmm. On top of that, Luke, when I came in, when I first came in, we're out there in the indoor throwing routes and all that. We're just trying to get back into it, and he's out there helping me with plays, trying to go ahead and get me acclimated into it now before we get into spring. Mm-hmm. So I really do appreciate him, and I feel like that helped me coming in too, because I already had an idea of what we were doing.
When you talking about the off season before you even got into spring ball, you went through winter workouts, right, with Coach Day and his staff. What was that like? A lot of the guys that we talked to that get into that program for the first time talk about just how different it is, how unique it is.
Yeah, definitely it is. I haven't done anything like that before. And I could tell that it's working. I can see that, I'm getting bigger, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting faster, So
what stands out the most? Is it just something like, wow, this is weird? Like some of the things we're doing are weird, or like what's so different about it?
Just the load, I guess. Mm-hmm. Coastal, it wasn't that much. We weren't really. We were still working now. For sure. Coach Q, yeah, he'll still work us. But like I would say, that facilities and equipment have something to do with it too. Yeah. So they have more equipment, here. So yeah, we can do more stuff.
The amount of resources.
But for what we had at Coastal, we were still working for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go to back to spring ball. I know the last, even before the spring game, the last couple of scrimmages, they were closed to the public and the media. But, we heard some buzz about your performances in those. And I know one of your catches was even highlighted on social media from Gamecock football. But, did you kind of see the progression in yourself, from spring practice number 1 to spring practice number, what would that have been, 9, 10, something like that, the last scrimmage?
Yeah, I did. Coming in, knowing that I was going to play a different position, I knew it was going to be a little difficult trying to adjust to something for the first year, especially at this level. So, I wasn't doubting myself, but, I just knew that, it'll take time. So, don't get down on yourself if stuff's not going your way, off a rip. So,
what did tell us about that play that got highlighted on social media? What happened there?
So yeah, I actually ran the wrong route, but, okay. But I had to make up for it by making a play. So
it seemed to turn out fine.
Yeah, I ran a post, and there was a DB behind me, and I was running 2-1, I guess. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say when the trust comes in, because Lenoris threw that ball. So, he was trusting me to make a play and come down with it. And if I want to be an elite receiver, like I harp on, then those are the plays that elite receivers make. So why not go ahead and start making them now? Show him that he can trust me.
One of the things you talked about earlier too was just playing outside at receiver. This is the first time in your career where you've had somebody 100% of the time lined up across from you. There's rarely playing outside in the SEC. You don't get free releases. You don't get free access. And so I know you've been able to go against, some pretty talented DBs in practice too. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about, OD and Judge, Vakari Swain, Emery, like going up against those guys.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up OD's name. Yeah. I go against OD every day because OD's on my side. And OD really opened my eyes. I was like, okay, this is what I got in store. OD is a great player for sure. And then Judge too. And I feel like Judge is really gonna make me take that next step. Because when you look at corners nowadays, most of them are long.
Yeah.
And they like to put hands on, and Judge likes to put hands on, and Judge is long. So, you know, just going against him and getting reps with him, you know, the one-on-one reps and all those, you know, that those are going to help me. You know, it's going to translate to the game, the stuff that I do in practice. What else I want to say?
Let's save it for the other side. We're going to take a break real quick. Come back on the other side. One more segment. Gamecock football wide receiver Jared Brown. It's Garnet Trust Hour here on the game.
Welcome back in. It is the Garnet Trust Hour. Tyler Head, Chris Clark along with you on this Tuesday, hanging out with Jared Brown, wide receiver for Gamecock football. Real quick, want to let you know 107.5 Games got you covered for your chance to win a gift for your mother this upcoming Mother's Day. Chance to spend the weekend out at Atlanta's Evergreen Lakeside Resort. Family 4-pack passes to Stone Mountain Park. Go online to 1075game.com's Facebook page to qualify for that, again, for a gift for Mother's Day this upcoming weekend. You're a Georgia guy. Did you ever hang out at Stone Mountain Park?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I just looked over to the right because I was like, in Georgia?
I know. It's right. I mean, it'd be down the road from you guys in Lilburn, but pretty close there.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this the first time we met, Jared. So didn't you knew Kyle Fleetwood, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah.
You knew his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Fleetwood. Do you remember that name, Tyler?
That's familiar.
Yeah. He went to Parkview.
His brother, his younger brother, Bryce Fleetwood.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of my great friends.
Okay, yeah. Well, shout out Bryce and Kyle. Kyle played here.
Shout out. Actually, I wanna shout out my whole group. New Day.
Okay.
New Day. That's Fleet, Bryce, Brian, Jordan, Cody Brown, David Patterson, our Bob, El Sayed.
Okay.
All of them.
Shout out.
Guys. Shout out them.
Okay.
Now, given that you went to Parkview, I do have asked this question now that you're at South Carolina. Did y'all still dress in basically Clemson's uniforms for football, or has that changed over the years? Because I know when Frank Gore was there back in the day, it was a spitting image of what Clemson football was.
Yeah. I mean, when I went to Parkview, they would always say, "Is that Clemson?" They would think that I went to Clemson, but
They did have the tiger paw.
but like Clemson is orange and purple.
Mm-hmm.
We were orange and blue.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I guess that's how they got around that
Just a little bit.
I did wonder because it was the exact same like tiger paw.
Well, Gamecock fans aren't going to penalize Jared for that, though.
No, not at all.
He's,
Not at all.
He's here now. So, Jared, what do you like to do away from ball?
I'm a gamer, really.
Okay.
What are you playing?
Nobody really knows. I play really. So I used to be heavy on Call of Duty, but then I really got off that. Started getting on 2K again.
Okay.
I stopped playing 2K in 2016. And this
You started, you said, in
Yeah.
2000? Okay.
I started and stopped 16, and then picked it back up in 24.
Excited for the college game coming out this fall?
Yes.
You're going to be
This
on it,
summer,
right?
I guess.
You in the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Being able to play with yourself is.
What's the at what level? You know how all the guys talk about this. Like, what's my rating going to be?
Yeah.
Like, what would be an acceptable rating to you? What are you going to be mad if you're rated below
I'll be mad if I'm rated below 80.
80?
Okay.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think I would be below 80.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Now,
What-
did you play the original games back in the day, like 14 and 13 and all that kind
I
of stuff?
played them a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Played them a little bit.
Those are good. All right, now 2K. I can't. We need to start writing these down.
Yeah.
Like which guys say that they're the best at 2K. There's somebody on the
Yeah, I
team
feel
we
like-
talked to recently.
Was it?
You're probably like, I know who
I
this-
think it was Monkel.
Monkel might have
Monkel
said
said he was really good at
Yeah.
it.
Now, listen to this. So 2K like a regular game, like 5-on-5 real game.
Okay.
Like play now. I'm not really good at that. But there's a game mode to where you make your own player.
Okay.
And then you upgrade him yourself. And then you go and play other people online. It's called My Park. It's called the Park. So like just people get on and they go online and you can go into all these courts and you can get on a spot with 2 other people, for threes, or you can get on with random people. I feel like nobody on this team will beat my player.
So it's like
Me
3
and
on
play.
3?
Yeah.
Okay. 3 on 3.
Now, how many guys on the team have you played against in 2K?
I haven't played against anybody, but
Oh.
I have played with Gage though.
I feel like that's
Okay.
kind of laying down a challenge a little bit.
It is.
We do need to have a tournament.
We do.
We do need to have a tournament, but I'm talking about my player tournament. I don't want no play now.
Hey, you can set the ground rules.
Yeah,
that's
it's,
cool.
It's your turn.
I'ma
I
set a ground rule.
do
It's my
respect though saying, hey, 5-on-5,
5-on-5,
not
I
my
ain't good
thing.
at.
Yeah.
But if you bring your player and I bring my player,
Okay.
I'm gonna come out on top.
All right, we're going to have the Gamecock 2K Invitational hosted by Jared Brown, or the rules at least set by Jared Brown.
Yes.
That does sound good.
yes.
All right, what about we always talk about food.
Yeah.
All right, what's You don't have to give any names of places, but just favorite meals when you get a chance to just make something, go have something. Yeah.
I always steer toward ribs. I want to find some good ribs or some good wings.
I'm with you on that.
Hard to beat.
Have you ever been to American Deli?
No, I've wanted to though.
It's good.
Yeah, there you go.
It's an Atlanta staple.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
It's good. It's good. I promise.
Yeah, the Georgia guys are like, y'all have to educate me.
I'm telling you.
So it's a rite of passage.
They do have one.
Some of the receivers went to American Deli.
That's right. We do have one here, but it's from Georgia originally.
It's a Georgia thing.
Okay. What's your buffalo teriyaki?
Got to get honey hot garlic.
Now, do you go bone in or boneless?
I go bone in.
Bone in. Old school.
Boneless.
I don't even know if American Deli has bone.
Well,
I think they
boneless
do.
is not chicken wings. That's chicken nuggets.
You're in the
Facts,
chicken
facts.
nugget.
Yeah, see?
You're
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
You're right.
don't remember our guy Colin.
I remember.
Colin Taylor,
Yeah.
he would, and he would eat like dino nuggets for dinner, but he's like, I like boneless wings. I'm like, that's like an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Boneless wings are not a thing.
We got about a minute left here. What are you most excited for this upcoming season?
Just to compete, man. I've growing up, I've always wanted to play the best of the best, and me here is just, I love it. So, I'm just excited to compete with the guys on my team, and then just in this conference and bring a championship back to Columbus.
Well, we're excited to see it. We've been loving your highlight tape. Can't wait to see what you're going to do on the field this fall. And enjoy this month off as much as you can. And can't wait to see what the fall looks like for you guys.
Yes, sir. Let's get to work.
Again, that's Jared Brown, transfer wide receiver for the Gamecocks. This has been the Garnet Trust Hour. Coming up next, Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on the game.
All right, all that talk about food on the Garnet Trust Hour has me hungry. And so let me tell you a little bit about our sponsor for the next program, which is the Gamecock Central Takeover.